reflexes like a mongoose on amphetamines. Waving his Wilson wand. Super scintillating and sensational from Sosa. It's tennis near the gods. No mortal may approach.
Welcome back to Tennis Near the Gods. I'm Alex, joined alongside my brother Nicholas, and today we're going to be recapping the first week of Wimbledon. 4 rounds have completed. Our quarterfinalists are Novak Djokovic against David Goffin, Guido Pella against Roberto Bautista Agut, Sam Querrey against Rafa Nadal, and Kei Nishikori against Roger Federer. So to start off, the Wimbledon grass has been the slowest it's ever been. So that you've seen a lot of big servers struggling more in this draw. And you've seen a lot more clay quarters, I'd say, or the Spaniards or the Spanish-speaking guys
a bit more
finding more success.
Grinders, like a Sosa and a Pella reaching the fourth in quarters.
And you have Bautista Agut, who the grass actually suits well, and he's going to be dangerous going forward into this draw. So to start off, we'll just recap kind of what's happened, and then give our opinions on what's to come. So Djokovic has progressed through the tournament pretty convincingly. He's only dropped one set en route to the quarterfinals. That was to Herbert Hurkacz. And he's definitely improved as each match gone on. Just like how he did in the Australian Open, he's had this progression where he's looking stronger and stronger as the week goes, as match by match goes by.
Yep.
So the first kind of surprise that we have going through the draw was with Felix Auger-Aliassime, I would say, losing in the third round to Ugo Humbert.
And I really think it was the manner in which he lost. And
no, I think it was just
losing straight
in
sets.
general. I think losing in general. That was a match I was
so
expecting him to see.
with his composure and how he's comported himself on the court, and with his training, and how much he's improved this year. And he got his first 2 Grand Slam victories against Vasily Pospisil and Corentin Moutet. 2 tough matches, especially on grass. But Humbert reaching the 4th round, that was a huge
I just
win
thought
for
it
him.
was a good matchup for Felix. I don't think Humbert is that as something where he's gonna throw him off. He's just crafty and I didn't think that should. I thought Felix should have won that match. But,
I agree there.
But he's had a tremendous year. So and he played well throughout this short grass swing. So it was a successful season for him in that sense on the grass. Moving down, you had Goffin, who's progressed through the draw. He took out Medvedev. That was a big win for him.
Yeah.
7-5 in the 5th set. That was an absolute war because, as I said, the grass is playing slower, so that it turned into a grind. Medvedev hung back and just decided not to miss, and Goffin was trying to find punch holes in him, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
And you really like how Goffin's playing, especially on this grass with his sliding serve. He's a very precise player, takes the ball very early, times the ball so well, and he can put the ball in such great positions and give you a lot of trouble. And it makes
he's going to be
difficult.
He's going to be difficult for Djokovic to handle just because I feel like the grass is going to being slower. I know Djokovic is the best defender of all time, if that is a debate, but he's one of the best. But I still think it is grass, and the deeper you are in the court, the more dangerous it is. He is one guy who doesn't break down as much. He chooses to slide. But I think Goffin's going to give him some trouble just based off of the pure ball striking and how he can take the ball so early with his footwork. He's very quick to take the ball on. He's very quick to go through the court, move forward.
I think Goffin will be able to take a set off of Djokovic, but maybe not give him, not put Djokovic in any trouble in terms of losing. In terms
I
of
disagree.
losing, no.
I say taking a set off of Djokovic in this stage of the match means he's in a little bit of trouble because I mean, obviously, I don't think he's going to lose the match, but I see Goffin giving him some fits. And moving down, one of our biggest upsets was Stefanos Tsitsipas losing to Fabiano. He was the 7th seed.
But then
he
again,
struggled all
Tsitsipas
season on grass.
has been struggling recently, especially just after his
You think
round of 16 loss to Stan
it's not
Wawrinka.
it's just the grass. It's not recent. It's his game is not suited as of right now for grass. He needs to improve in a lot of areas, whether it be he needs to get the serve, beef up the serve a little bit.
Yeah.
That's make it more consistent, I would say.
Yeah,
it's not even beef it up. He needs to serve more consistently.
Because
he needs
to
tighten his strokes. He needs to tighten his strokes because he struggled a lot on the backhand return because he's taking a full swing and the ball was practically by him. And it was only Fabiano who was serving. He was 5'9", short guy, doesn't have a massive serve. And he was far back in the court, and it's the first match. It's the first day of the tournament, and the grass is still very slick.
Yep, and the ball's going to be low. The ball's going to be sliding.
Fabiano was
faster.
Fabiano was dictating the entire time, which is not a recipe for success for Tsitsipas. He needs to transition more. Yeah. He needs to take the ball on more.
He needs to assert himself.
Yeah, so he needs to adapt and. Because grass is so different than the hard and the clay, which he's so great on. But there's an area where he can improve a lot on because he's already had such a phenomenal year. And
then moving down, you've got Kevin Anderson, who just lost to Guido Pella in straight sets. Guido Pella also advanced
Guido Pella.
Advanced to the quarterfinals, but Kevin Anderson hasn't played many matches recently. He lost to Simon in London, right?
Yeah, this gets back to the debate where I said I didn't think he deserved the 4 seed. He should have been seeded.
No, not at all.
But and this kind of proved it. I mean, I did think he was going to lose out to Pierre-Hughes Herbert, but Herbert threw in a dud of a match. So Guido Pella, very tough. This is one of those guys where he's not a big server, but because the grass is slower, he's been able to kind of finagle his way through these matches. He's crafty in the sense he transitions forward very well.
And
he's had a lot of success on the doubles court.
Much tougher to deal with.
Yeah. He slices. His forehand hooks out wide very well. Mm-hmm. So that was awesome to see him progress to the draw. And now you have Roberto Bautista Agut against Guido Pella as a quarterfinal, which if you had told me before this tournament that was going to happen, I'd be like, you're crazy. You're out of your mind.
I think the more crazy thing is Guido Pella moving through. Roberto Bautista Agut,
I'm saying that specific matchup, Guido Pella, Roberto Bautista Agut, which is awesome because I'd love one of those guys to be in the semifinals, and here they are with a chance to do that.
We saw Stan Wawrinka bow out to Riley Opelka in the second round, 8-6 in the fifth set. I wasn't too surprised about that. Wawrinka is never likes playing on grass. He's never found success. I think he lost in the second round in London, right? And Opelka's got a massive serve, massive game, and he'll take pot shots at you off the baseline, off of the ground, and when it came down to it in the big moments, Wawrinka
was testing him the entire time. He was in every single one of his service games in the fifth, and Opelka just came up on those break points. He came up with the big serves and the big volleys. He moves well for a guy of his stature, moves better than most.
Yeah.
So that was a good run for him. Raonic did just dismantle him in the third round, but it was overall a great tournament for him. Just winning those two matches, beating Stab and Wawrinka. Wawrinka's obviously a big win. Raonic, I think, is a little bit of a level above because he's much better off the baseline. He's a better transitioner.
And also his volleys are incredible.
Yeah, that's what I said. Moving down, you have Karen Khachanov, who was the 10 seed. He lost in the third round to Bautista Agut, which I don't know if it was a surprise, but Bautista Agut has definitely been playing better him this entire year.
I think especially on this grass, Bautista Agut is especially potent.
He's much more dangerous. The slower grass makes him very tough here because off of both sides, his ball's incredibly flat. There's not a lot of topspin there. So his ball's sliding through the court, but the slow conditions. So the ball's going to stay low no matter what off of his ball. Yeah. So it's going to be tough to really peg balls because the ball's low. You're going to have to spin it. And then on top of that, The slow grass means he can hunt down anything. You're watching these matches, he's digging balls out of the corner and then being able to get back and retrieve the next ball in the other corner.
And he's got more time to set up and really pick his spot and hit through that court. Hit through his target. And as the ball's going to be sliding, because it is grass, it's so much tougher to defend.
And playing against a player who hits so flat is very difficult. I mean, you've seen he's rolled through his draw. Guys have just given it. Kachanov, the third set, 6-1. That was, he basically just frustrated him to the point where he's like, he threw in the towel. And the same thing with Benoit Paire. Granted, Benoit Paire was more of a mental thing, but it's
and Bautista Agut has never had this much success in a tournament. I feel like winning 4 matches in a row in straight sets.
I mean, that's not a measure of success in straights, but it's just shown that he's been playing dominant tennis, and I think he's going to be very dangerous to come. We'll get more into that in a little bit. And then another big upset on the top half of the draw was Zverev losing in the first round. Our 6th seed, he lost to Jiří Veselý. Again, this has just been the story of the year for Zverev. As he said in his press conference, he starts off well, and then one thing goes awry, and he's in trouble. Veselý just took it to him, and that's been Zverev's struggle this entire year, is he goes soft. He has this massive game, but when push comes to shove in the big moments, his forehand's not going to get past the service line, his first serve's not going in, and his second serve is significantly dropping in speed, and that is not a recipe for success for him, especially on the grass. I mean, you have to take the initiative, especially in the earlier rounds, because the grass is more slick. So if you hang back, you're going to be in more trouble, and Veselý took it to him. So that was a little disappointing to see. Hopefully he can figure it out for the rest of the year. Another big upset. We had our 5, 6, and 7 seeds drop out in the first round. Dominic Thiem lost to Sam Querrey. This was the match of the top seeds where you're like, okay, Querrey can give
that's definitely understandable.
Thiem trouble. Thiem has never done well on grass, has never performed that well.
And also Querrey just finaled with Eastbourne. So
it's not even the finaling of the 250. He's got the massive game. He's had the incredible success at Wimbledon. It wasn't that he was in form. It's just that matchup. Thiem, in my opinion, hits too big and wants to stand too far back.
And his strokes are also too big.
Well, that's the whole thing. He needs a lot of space for his game because he hits the ball so hard and so heavy.
And he likes a lot of time.
He needs to be far back. It's not even... He wants the ball high up. The grass is not going to be high up. The ball's low and rushed. Off the backhand side, he has a great slice, so he has that, but that's... You didn't see it a lot. He's not as crafty. That's not part of his game. His game is more brute force, just bully the guy. And so you see, and Querrey's into the quarterfinals against Nadal, which is going to be an awesome matchup to see. I think Querrey, again, even though Nadal's basically playing like it is on Roland Garros, he's back there hitting reverse forehands and hunting everything down. I think Querrey can punch some holes in him. I don't think he is winning the match, but I think it's going to be exciting tennis because you saw what happened with Nick Kyrgios against Nadal. That was very exciting. Just the serve on the grass with that big forehand.
And Kyrgios was locked down in that match. He was so focused. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. And he executed a great game plan, and he gave himself opportunities just in the big moments.
Another big shocker that we had was Tenny Sangren. He's struggled ever since his massive run at making the quarterfinals at Aussie Open 2018. He struggled. He went back on the Challenger circuit for a little bit leading up to this tournament, and he's found success. He lost in the 4th round to Querrey, but huge wins over Simone and Fognini, which was awesome to see. Because I thought he was going to have a tough time getting past Uchiyama in the first round. He really found his game on the grass. He has a massive game, big forehand, very aggressive, and just found his groove. That's why I think you don't necessarily need to have you don't need to be the 6-8 figure out here. It's more the 6'4" guys who have a big serve, have a big forehand, but they grind a little bit too. Mm-hmm. They have a little bit of that in them. It's not necessarily just, okay, I'm going to hit 3 balls each rally and then I'm done. So that again, as you said, that's what you see with Query, a big guy who can rally a little bit.
Yeah, and he's willing to rally.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with a guy like a team.
So moving down even further, Marin Cilic, 13 seed, bowed out in the second round. Was that a surprise? Not really. Cilic has struggled all year. Another one of the big guys who's been struggling.
Yeah.
João Sousa, maybe the guy who beat him was a little bit surprising. João Sousa, I didn't see it happening this early necessarily. I thought he would progress to the third round just because of the matchups. But João Sousa played very high-level tennis. One of those guys who never quits.
And just hunting down every ball.
He's relentless with the intensity. And Cilic, that was a very poor performance from him. Not that aggressive. And against João Sousa, you got to take it to him because Sousa
aggressive and not willing to really enforce himself.
It was more not aggressive. He does not have the confidence. It's very clear. Exactly. He was tentative on short balls, and you could tell because he was making errors where you're like, what is going on? That is not the Marin Cilic that we know who finaled here a couple of years ago.
And then you saw James Ward almost upset Nicholas Basilashvili in the first round, but then Dan Evans took Basilashvili out in the second round in straight sets. I wasn't too surprised about that. Basilashvili has been in very poor form recently, this entire year basically. And Basilashvili with those big strokes and the big game, unless he's feeling it, which he hasn't been, he's going to struggle, especially in the early
He's actually very in tight on his forehand. I disagree. He doesn't take these I completely maybe
he takes big cuts on the ball.
He takes massive cuts on the ball, but I wouldn't say his backswing's that big. It's just he's not the grass. He does not have the patience. He's been struggling. He's not making the shots that he was.
Disciplined.
I mean, but that's his game. He's not very disciplined. So moving down again.
Shapovalov's struggles have continued. He lost to Berankis in the first round in straight sets.
This goes back to the whole Nadal thing down here. This is where Nadal's a 3 seed. Nadal has been so dominant. With the Kyrgios match was always going to be a tough one.
And I thought it was a very high-level match from both players.
Kyrgios was going to get up for that.
And he did.
No matter what. I wanted to see Kyrgios win that. But I thought Tsonga was going to give Nadal trouble, and boy, was way off on that. Nadal picked him apart. Just found a way to Tsonga's backhand, which is obviously the weaker wing, and just destroyed him. And that match was very troublesome. It has to be for the rest of the draw because it's like, wow, it's the first week, and he just outworked the guy on a surface where you get a lot of value for being very aggressive and having a big serve, big forehand, and he made him look like a fool. And that's why, as I was saying, it's almost as if he's playing back at Roland Garros. The surface isn't as tough on his knees. It's slow. He's able to get into that rhythm in the back of the court, whereas I'm not going to miss, but I'm also going to punish you if you leave a sitting ball.
Mm-hmm. And he's still able to stand 20 feet behind the baseline to return. He's not. That ball's not sliding. It's not going as fast.
If I'm fed, I'm like, ooh, I'm getting ready for a war. That's going to be an awesome match, hopefully in the semifinals. We're dropping down even further. You have Kei Nishikori as your 8 seed. He's progressed to the quarters. Alongside his road has been somewhat interesting. He hasn't had any seeds, right? He hasn't faced a single seed.
No.
He just took out Kukushkin in the 4th round. Kukushkin, a very tough player to be on grass in this week just because how flat he hits the ball.
So flat, especially on the backhand wing. He's able to slide
he had
that
big
ball
win
through
over
the court.
Struff,
And also his
big win
forehand's
over
very flat.
Isner. And we'll go back to this. This was one of my favorite matches of the week. Was Struff against Taylor Fritz. Both guys have been in form on grass. It was I was hoping Fritz was going to win because he's just improved so vastly in the last couple months. I think what truly changed the season around was his decision to play a full clay court swing.
Yeah, especially after he lost I think a bunch of matches in a row
on the hard courts. Double. Yeah, he lost to Mutterer in the first round in Miami.
Yep.
And so he's really changed his game has taken off since then. Because of playing all those matches, he's come in, he put a beating on Fritz or not a beating on Fritz,
Berdych.
Berdych. He put a beating on Berdych 4-4 and 3, so convincing, and he had a tight match with Struve. Could have gone either way, I thought. After the 4 set was a tight one, Fritz had I think not. Did he have set points in that? I'm pretty sure he did, something like that. And so that was a pot shot. You don't know who's gonna win that.
And then Berrettini advanced to the fourth round, upsetting or taking out Schwartzman in 5 sets. And then against Roger Federer, he just got absolutely chopped up.
He definitely was emotionally taxed from the Schwartzman match. He had to save match points in the 4th set. He came back to win in 5. And Federer is looking phenomenal.
Ever since he dropped that first set to Lloyd Harris.
He's really picked it up. He's picking apart people's games. And it's going to be... I'm so excited for that semifinal match. Hopefully we get it, obviously, not to get ahead of ourselves. But now we're going to progress into the quarterfinals, see what we see. So Djokovic against Goffin, I just take Djokovic just because he's a superior player.
Yeah, he's the better player.
Goffin struggled up until this point this year. He's been improving. The grass has definitely been his saving grace in terms of he's gotten better matches. He finaled Halle.
Yep.
So he's been in form on the grass. I think Djokovic is just going to be a little too tough. Get a few more balls back than he might like. Make a few more errors. Errors creep into his game. He's the better player. I take Djokovic there.
And just moving down, I see Bautista Agut taking out Guido Pella.
So you have a 23 versus a 26 seed in a quarterfinal. It reminds me of what it was against Sandgren played against Hyun Chung in the 2018 Australian Open in the quarterfinals. But this is a lot, for me, this is a lot more exciting. I think Bautista Agut wins this. I think it
could be in straights because Bautista Agut's been so locked in.
I think it's straights because Guido Pella has to be emotionally taxed too. He's played the match against Kevin Anderson was a massive win. That's his best result making the 4th round. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, he goes 2 sets to love down against Raonic, fights his way back, wins 8-6 and 3rd. Now he's done it best result ever in a tournament. Quarterfinals now of a Grand Slam. Mm-hmm. To go from that high, to calm down, and to go back to another high, to play for a semifinal.
And Bautista Agut has the experience playing in a quarterfinal earlier this year in the Australian Open, where he lost his Tsitsipas in 4 sets.
I think the conditions are in his favor.
And this time he's not physically taxed from playing 3 5-setters like he did in the Australian Open. He has won every single match in straight sets, and he's playing incredible form.
I'd say it's the best tennis he's played in his career right now, the way he's been progressing. The match against Kachanov was so impressive. He was digging balls out of the corner. He breaks down, and then to get to the next ball, he was lightning fast. And I think when you see a Djokovic-Bautista Agut semi, this is what we're getting to. I think that's danger for Novak. I know it's like, all right, Djokovic is in the semifinals, even though Roberto's beaten him twice this year. I think that matchup, maybe it's just my bias in this, but I think that matchup is bad for Novak. It's everything he doesn't like. A slow, flat ball off the backhand. What is he going to do with that? He hates slow players, people who do not give him a lot of pace. And then on top of that, he does not like the flat, low ball. And
I think the biggest thing for Bautista Agut is that he gets a lot of rhythm off of Djokovic, off of Djokovic's game, as you've seen in Doha and in Miami, where Roberto upset Djokovic. He went down a set, especially in Miami when it was 1-6, 7-5, 6-3. I just still see Djokovic as the better player here. I think he's going to take him out in 5 sets. But I see Djokovic progressing to the finals once again.
This is where I'm gonna go out on a limb a little bit. I'm gonna take Bautista Agut to make the finals. I think I just think
you have to look at the fact that
with Djokovic losing that match against Dominic Thiem in the semifinals really nailed something in my head. If he is not comfortable, it is not the old Djokovic that we were used to, where it was like no matter what.
I think it was just one match.
No. No matter what, he's not gonna lose. No matter what. But I think on the grass, Bautista Agut could give him fits. I think Goffin can give him fits, but I think Bautista Agut matches up even better against Djokovic because he's not going to supply as much pace. And then on top of that, he's going to give him a ball where he's not as comfortable hitting.
Yeah.
So moving down, I see a Fedal again. I think Nadal just plays on clay like he does, takes out Query, just hangs back in the court and just grinds him out. And I think Fed takes out Nishikori. Nishikori's been playing well, I think.
He's been playing well, but then again, he's also had a pretty simple draw coming in.
I feel like Fed is just going to outwit him. I think straight sets.
And Fed, it's no longer like a 4, 5, and 6 type of match. That the way he's been progressing, he's been winning a lot of sets 6-1 and 6-2.
I wouldn't read into that. I think Berrettini more. That was just a mental like that was a tough one coming into Fed.
But even before that,
I think a Fed against Nadal semifinal to face Roberto Bautista Agut in the finals.
All right. Well, I see Nadal taking out Federer. I think Nadal has been just. So I was so impressed with how he handled himself in that Kyrgios match and how well he was able to play, especially in the second round when the grass is a lot faster, it's a lot thicker.
This is where I
it's
disagree.
Not as dirt.
I say Federer takes out Nadal. I think he takes him out just because it's still on grass. That's what I'm going to say. It's still on grass. Nadal beat Federer in his world on the clay, but no matter the conditions on the grass, Nadal is in Fed's world. Fed can control the pace of play. He can dictate what goes on in the match. He can make it into a little junk fest. He can make the variety so much so where Nadal's not where he can draw Nadal in on top of the baseline. He can use that slice. He can serve and volley. Nadal's not going to have that comfortable factor where he's back in the court. He's like, okay, I can just hang back here because Fed's going to take it to him. It's not clay where he has all that time on the ball. Fed's going to rush him. He's going to get him uncomfortable.
This will definitely be a thrill. I think it'll go to 5.
I have Fed winning the tournament just the way he's been undoing guys. He's just been saying, okay, this is your game. Now I'm going to just dismantle you piece by piece. I think he's going to do the same to Nishikori. I think he's going to do the same to Nadal. I think he's going to do the same to Roberto Bautista Agut.
Well, if he gets to Roberto, I think he'll definitely take him out. But I see Djokovic repeating and winning
I think Fed's
second
winning.
title in a row here at
Fed's,
Wimbledon.
I think Fed's winning. Roberto Bautista Agut might be a long shot, but you know what? I'm for the dark horse. I'm for the underdog. Let's go, Roberto. But I have Fed winning it all. All right, thank you so much for listening. We'll get back at you guys Sunday when this all comes to be. Hopefully, Fed's taking home the title. I mean, really, optimally, I'd want Roberto to win this tournament. I do. I want it for him so bad. But listen, I'm cheering for him, so we'll see. Thank you so much for listening.